Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. We've got the updates on this ongoing military war situation, Operation Epic Fury is what they're calling it. Trump giving an update, 6 minute long. So we'll watch this. This will give us an outline of what they want to tell us, at least. Yeah, I don't know about it lasting more than 4 weeks. I mean, are we just going to have the speculation this entire stream about how long it's going to last? I don't know. I mean, it's like 2 to 4 weeks, is what I heard. Sean, thank you for the 18 months. Wow. A year and a half membership program. They just troll when they say I'm getting drafted. It's a joke. Nobody's getting drafted. It's ridiculous. Trump would get destroyed. His approval rating would get destroyed if people got drafted. Fuentes showing he's a Democrat plan. Well, he just wants accelerationism, basically. It pays to be at war with your own side, your own party, versus having to defend them. It's a lot easier to be at war with everyone than having to defend a politician or whatever. It's the easiest position you could take, really. They say it's noble. It's a lot easier to cry foul and say we're rebels. We're rebels against the Trump administration. Sean the Whale. Thank you for the $100 donation, Sean. I appreciate it. The Whale with a huge donation. His approval rating is already destroyed. Not really. It's basically the exact same where Obama's was in his second term. Yeah, I think Asmongold and Nick Fuentes are friends, if I had to guess from the clips that I've seen, honestly. $100. I have to say something. I have to admit something. I'm secretly Jewish. So this has gotten really awkward now. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But somebody, people are going to say I'm a goy or whatever. Dude, the Cosmos crypto is dead. Those 2021 altcoins are dead. Oh, man. Release the Goyim. Yeah, but they're gonna have to invade, bro. That's a non-starter, man. That's gonna be fucked if they actually invade. Love seeing all the Iranian people out supporting Trump's move and a bunch of white liberals out protesting against it. Well, the liberals are going to protest anything. I mean, this is kind of a split a little bit within the not the MAGA coalition, but people on the right. Some people don't really support what Trump is doing. I mean, the liberals, we have to think they're always going to be against whatever Trump does. So they're against this, just like they were against the Venezuela capture, and all the Venezuelans were happy. There's a lot of different dynamics, and there are a lot of people within Iran that are celebrating it, but there's also people within Iran that support the regime. Well, I don't think they would surrender to anyone. I think that they would their regime would be forced to capitulate if they suffered enough losses within their government. The regime will be significantly weakened. I mean, they said we were going to invade last year. There's no way they're going to do a land invasion. It's just not. It's not realistic in the modern age. How has Ben Shapiro reacted? Yeah, Ben Shapiro literally is like he's got like a constant boner because of this. I mean, he's got to be just. I actually don't know how Ben Shapiro reacted. I don't think he does videos on the weekend or does his show on the weekend. Ben Shapiro has got to be. I mean, if there's one person that should approve of Trump, it's got to be Ben Shapiro. I mean, that's. Imagine if he comes out and he's like, Trump hasn't done enough. Trump. I mean, if there's one person that we can get approval of Trump, it's got to be Ben Shapiro. Mark Levin. Mark Levin. Imagine Mark Levin's like, yeah, actually, Trump hasn't done enough for the state of Israel yet. He's on the right track, but he hasn't done enough yet. You want a new update? Well, this is the new update. I'm going to wait for enough people to join, and then I'll just play this whole thing. It's 6 minutes, and I won't interrupt it because it's important to see what they're trying to push out. Dude, Keir Starmer, I don't know what happened to him. The UK is just a mess. Keir Starmer put out a video last night. He looked weak and defeated, and he was like, "Well, we didn't help the United States, but we support the U.S. and Israel." And people were just clowning on Keir Starmer. Then he puts out another video today, basically insinuating that they're going to join and allow the United States to use their bases for whatever, for bombing. They're going to go on a multi-week bombing run or whatever it is. France too. It's all those countries are falling in line. UK base in Cyprus got hit. Starmer has got to have like a 20% approval rating. I think he actually does. I think Starmer has like a 15% approval rating if I had to guess. But it's like now everyone is against Iran. The EU is joining against Iran. The UK is joining against Iran. All the Gulf states are against Iran because Iran's been bombing them as a reaction, not even just U.S. military bases. Thoughts on Carney's comments? Canada fully falling in line. It's the same thing. It's the exact same thing with we'd like to have this cooperation with Greenland that's what I was thinking. I was like, man, these countries are all just, and this is probably people say, well, because Israel's involved but yeah, they're all falling in line like little children basically to the United States and Israel. Did you see the Iranian reporter crying about Culminate? No, I didn't see that. Now, Starmer's going to be out as soon as they have the next election, whatever that is, whatever the way their parliament.
Epic fury, one of the largest, most complex, most overwhelming military offensives the world has ever seen. Nobody's seen anything like it. We have hit hundreds of targets in Iran, including Revolutionary Guard facilities, Iranian air defense systems. Just now, it was announced that we knocked out 9 ships plus their naval building, all in a matter of literally minutes. Iran's formerly supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, is dead. This wretched and vile man had the blood of hundreds and even thousands of Americans on his hands and was responsible for the slaughter of countless thousands of innocent people all across many countries. Last night, All over Iran, the voices of the Iranian people could be heard cheering and celebrating in the streets when his death was announced. The entire military command is gone as well, and many of them want to surrender into saving their lives. They want immunity. They're calling by the thousands. Combat operations continue at this time in full force, and they will continue until all of our objectives are achieved. We have very strong objectives. They could have done something 2 weeks ago, but they just couldn't get there. Earlier today, CENTCOM shared the news that 3 U.S. military service members have been killed in action. As one nation, we grieve for the true American patriots who have made the ultimate sacrifice for our nation, even as we continue the righteous mission for which they gave their lives. We pray for the full recovery of the wounded and send our immense love and eternal gratitude to the families of the fallen. And sadly, there will likely be more. Before it ends, that's the way it is. Likely be more, but we'll do everything possible where that won't be the case. But America will avenge their deaths and deliver the most punishing blow to the terrorists who have waged war against basically civilization. They have waged war against civilization itself. Our resolve, and likewise that of Israel, has never been stronger. America is now again the richest, most powerful nation in the world by far. But the only reason we enjoy the quality of life that we do and the freedom and security is we have done things that others are unable to do. But it's because of warriors who are willing to lay down their lives to do battle with our enemies. And they do battle better than anybody. An Iranian regime armed with long-range missiles and nuclear weapons would be a dire threat to every American. We cannot allow a nation that raises terrorist armies to possess such weapons that would allow them to extort the world to their evil will. Not going to let it happen. We're not happening to us, and we're not going to let it happen to others. The United States has the strongest military the world has ever seen. I rebuilt our military in my first term. There's never been a military like we possess. And frankly, there's nobody even close, but we are now using that military for good. We want to have it for good purpose. We're undertaking this massive operation not merely to ensure security for our own time and place, but for our children and their children, just as our ancestors have done for us many, many years ago. This is the duty and the burden of a free people. These actions are right and they are necessary to ensure that Americans will never have to face a radical, bloodthirsty terrorist regime armed with nuclear weapons and lots of threats. For almost 50 years, these wicked extremists have been attacking the United States while chanting the slogan, "Death to America," or "Death to Israel," or both. They are the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. We are the world's greatest and most powerful nation, so we can do something about what they do. These intolerable threats will not continue any longer. I once again urge the Revolutionary Guard, the Iranian military, and police, to lay down your arms and receive full immunity or face certain death. It will be certain death. Won't be pretty. I call upon all Iranian patriots who yearn for freedom to seize this moment, to be brave, be bold, be heroic, and take back your country. America is with you. I made a promise to you, and I fulfilled that promise.
They're going to be more. He's basically prepping people in advance so people are aware. Yeah, I mean, it could. I mean, the market's going to open down tomorrow. It's probably going to be a blip unless this war derails into something more. Do I follow Nick Fuentes much? Figured I would like. I mean, I do see his clips and stuff. I've seen what he said. Well, there's no way the United States can be isolationist, not with the bases that we have across the world. It's not possible. I mean, that would take years of detachment. But somebody was talking about China. That it's an interesting angle. The amount of oil that is bought by the amount of Iranian oil that's bought by China is ridiculous. Like 90% of their oil exports go to China. It's like 15% of China's oil comes directly from Iran. So if something happens to Iran, that's going to cut into a significant amount of oil, cheap oil that was previously going to China. If the U.S. does somehow get control of it, or I don't know, I mean, look at the Venezuela situation. There were no boots on the ground there. The same Maduro regime is technically in power. War for a certain African nation disappointing. It's going to be hard for Trump to shake, depending on how long it goes. I mean, it just there's only so much you can say in terms of the war. You know, like last year they called it a war. There was really you couldn't really fearmonger it because there was no substance behind it. There was no casualties. It lasted 2 days. The U.S. was involved. You know, this is obviously a lot different. And even last year, you know, I could go back and remember what I would say last year about regime change and how much of a catastrophic mess it would be. But I mean, I don't know what this is if they actually do go for the regime change. It's like, I mean, if they go all in, there's probably going to have to be something that's done. I don't know about, I just don't think there can be operations within Iran, ground troops, meaning I just don't see how that can happen in 2026. It's not going to go over well at all, and it's just not necessary. I mean, unless they're really that obsessed with controlling Iran and the future of it. But I mean, that would be a catastrophic hit to Trump and the administration with the midterms coming if they committed to something like that. It might end up working out in the long term, but well, Netanyahu's had 7 meetings with Trump, you know, in person. Extreme. I don't think there's another leader that's probably that met with Trump more than 3 times. Netanyahu's at 7, so it's they obviously have a very close relationship. Yeah, I mean, I've seen some stuff about Vance. A lot of people are starting to really. It seems like the new flavor is Rubio, and you know I don't know how it's going to develop. It's very early. You know how these things go. One week people like Vance, the next week people like Rubio. There's a lot of people that are kind of souring for whatever reason I've seen on Vance, and they're starting to back Rubio. Um, to me, it's dependent on what Trump wants to do. Whatever Trump wants to do, that's where the base will follow. Whoever he endorses. I know there's been rumors that he might like Rubio more than Vance, but I don't know. They'll find. Do you think they'll find nukes? Oh yeah, they'll definitely find nukes in Iran. That would be the biggest gift. Thoughts on Nick, Sneeko, Jake Shields, and Myron saying we're going into World War III? Well, you've got all the scholars there. Those are the people that we should really listen to. But now, it's they always say it's going to be World War III after every military engagement. I mean, if you think about it, we are far closer to World War III, I would say, after Russia's invasion of Ukraine. This is not an invasion, right? These are targeted airstrikes. There's no invasion happening here, and Iran is extremely isolated. They have very little support from their allies right now. So even if there was to be an on the ground operation, I don't think China or Russia would really extend themselves into creating a bigger war. Fear mongering for clicks. But also, it's like, at what point do you think, okay, this is getting a bit ridiculous, calling everything World War III? Even if you wanna get clicks or whatever, it's just like, I mean, you look at Iran, they're really isolated right now. I think that's part of the reason why Trump did this at this time. But it's like, if you want this to cascade into World War III, doesn't Iran need some serious big allies that are willing to fight for them? Now the entire EU and the UK is going against Iran. The Gulf states are against Iran. Do you think it will hurt Republicans for the midterms? It depends on what this actually is. We still don't really know what this will turn into in terms of the length of it, in terms of the extent of U.S. investment, the casualties, how involved the U.S. is, and the result of it. I mean, all those things. They're going to have to wrap it up, I think, in a short period of time for this to not really cascade. If they can wrap it up quickly, I mean, I don't know what that looks like though. This is the thing, is I said it was going to be a mess if they tried regime change. So if they're actually trying it, it's. I mean, unless I don't know how the regime change happens without there being some U.S. presence within Iran, unless they just completely eliminate the entire regime. But the problem is there's people that still support the regime. It's not like it's 99% dislike the regime. Two world leaders in 2 months is low-key tough. Maybe John Bolton was onto something, JK. It is interesting. Trump is really reshaping the geopolitical world, and this will get turned into like he's doing it for the Jews and stuff like that. But it is interesting to see Maduro, the Ayatollah. He's already hinting at doing something. They're going to do something in Cuba. They're going to do something in Mexico. They're probably going to do something in Colombia. They're probably still going to go after Greenland. There's a lot of things happening geopolitically that Trump wants to be heavily involved in. He's been very aggressive. You would think that there would need to be troops for a change. I know, but that's even the thing with like Maduro. I mean, how does the Maduro switch happen? Though there's been deportations. They've deported around 2 or 3 million people. If you include self, they've deported people. And they listen, the thing is with the deportations, like what more do you want Trump to do? You understand, and look, people say, oh, you're shilling or whatever. I've seen more people actually be against Trump and say, well, he doesn't deport enough people than defend Trump. The U.S., the ICE budget, the deportation budget is insane. We've never had a budget this close in terms of it's like $150 billion. The deportation budget is higher than most countries' defense budgets. The immigration budget is insane. The border, Trump got the immigration budget to a ridiculous level, and so the deportations, look, that's under Trump. If they can't deport people, I mean he gave them the budget. They needed to deport people. We've never had a budget anywhere close to this large. Have you heard that the Houthis are targeting the U.S. Navy again following these events? Yeah, but all of those proxies are severely weakened, and if they do start targeting, it's just going to give Israel and the United States more justification to just wipe them out. I think Iran is already running out of missiles, honestly. It's really not a big war. After Biden's embarrassing withdrawal from Afghanistan, it's so awesome to see the prestige of the U.S. military on full display. Trump being a TV person clearly recognizes the power of that image. Yeah, I mean, the operations have gone really well as far as we can see. We'll see what they continue to do. I mean, they got rid of pretty much like their top 4 or 5 commanders in the first strikes, which honestly you would expect from the U.S. military, but you got to refresh. Tell people to refresh if I'm muted. I'll tell you what, this is a YouTube thing. There's no way. Why do I constantly deal with this where it makes me muted? For some people, they have to refresh constantly. That happened to me when I was watching someone else on YouTube with their live stream. Trump can do no wrong with this chat. Bro, literally my entire time, like these people gaslight me, I swear. My entire timeline is bitching at Trump. Even this chat was, has said there's a lot of people that aren't happy with him. So obviously, there's a lot of people that are angry within the Republican side at Trump. Why is my entire timeline negative bitching about Trump? And then I say something positive, and so I'm the one like with this groupthink. Technically, I'm the one actually going against what people are saying because they're all just bitching. Well, I mean, I think we'll have to wait and see how it develops, honestly. Well, we don't know what this operation will lead to, but it depends how big of an investment Trump makes and how much time it is. There was some news on deportations out of 500K people. 500K people. They've arrested over 270 and deported under 90. Total people? Do you think Trump waited to strike Iran until after a State of the Union speech? It might have helped weaken the backlash from his base. Well, I mean, the thing is with something like that, when you have a speech coming up and you're about to do a mission, the entire speech would be you know surrounded. It just happens. But I don't know if that's really what happened. I think they were planning to do it a week or two before, and it probably got delayed, if I had to guess. But it's definitely better that it got delayed because the entire State of the Union speech would just be on Iran, and all anyone would care about would be about Iran. So, but even I mean, the State of the Union speech, it's kind of irrelevant at this point because of the Iran situation. This is just how the news moves. Do you think we'll hit 1 million a year in deportations? No, they're not gonna hit a million. Well, actually, no, they're not gonna come close to a million. I mean, are you talking about self? Are you talking about self deportations and physical interior deportations? They're not gonna get a million in a year. They only got like 300 or 400K in 2025. Yeah, not forced deportations. It's not. There's no way. Iran TV got hacked. Yeah, I saw that. Epstein files conversation might finally be over. No, it won't. They'll go back to it after whatever happens ends. I don't think this is going to be longer than a month, honestly. So they'll be back at it probably in the summer on the Epstein stuff, trying to make it a beat. The thing is voters don't really care about that. If you look at it, it's not a pressing concern from voters. Like in terms of Trump and their grade of him. So I wonder if they'll really try and use that against Trump. Nick on Never Vance. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people hate Vance. I mean, I don't know, man. I like Vance over Rubio, but Vance has his own problems in terms of the fact that he was kind of a soy, never Trump guy. It's not a great look, but that was a while ago, I guess. But I mean, if Vance is the guy, certainly. I mean, obviously he's using accelerationism and he has his own movement, so okay. But we would rather a Republican than Democrat. That's just the bottom line. You think it's going to be over in a week? You agree with the comment? I mean, that would be great if it was over in a week. That'd be amazing. Maybe it's another 10, 12-day war or whatever, something like that. I mean, you know, we just don't know how long it'll go on. I mean, Trump has already thought it's going to at least be this week because of what Trump is saying, but yeah, I know there were soldiers that were unfortunately killed because they kept saying, well, there's been no casualties, but So Trump returning to DC. Why are all the pro-Trump people who were pushing Trump to be elected, i.e., Nick, Joe Rogan, Myron, Sneeko, and others, now saying he's a bad president? Because they say he sold out to Israel and he's helping Israel. He's putting Israel in front of the United States, basically. Well, it's socially good to hate the current president just in general. It's easy for people in Texas or wherever to downplay Iran's capabilities because I got homies in the Middle East who aren't tooting the same horn. Well, I mean, in general, Iran compared to the U.S. and Israel, they have very limited capability. But I agree. I mean, they do have a decent armament relative to a lot of countries in the world, for sure. Neither Vance and Rubio would be as bad as Bush. Oh, I agree 100%. Yeah, well, we're past that version of conservatism anyways as a party, so the party is past that. They couldn't even try and govern like that nowadays. The operation was in America's long-term interest. No, I hear what you're saying 100%. But it obviously greatly helps Israel. There's no denying that. I think definitely you look at the oil situation, it could help the United States. Airstrike only wars is going to be the new MO. Well, it's easier and there's way less blowback for the administration to do that. There's less collateral, less troops at risk. Brown Stadium, it's going to be in Brook Park, Ohio. Yeah, I mean, if it does become an extended war, there's really, I mean, what can you even say at that point? That would be insane. I mean, I can't see. It's like last year. Like nobody really thought that Trump was going to do anything prolonged, and there were people that started to blackpill and say it was going to be a longer situation. It just wasn't because Trump has to know. I mean, this is just inconsistent with everything Trump has said as a politician. I was very young during the 9/11 strikes. Will this help the midterms? It's not going to help the midterms, but it can be a neutral thing if it ends quickly. How is this different from Bush? No boots on the ground. It's still regime change. Obama didn't struggle for the United States, especially regime changes. I mean, that's why I said last year it's going to be a mess if they try and do regime change. It didn't make sense, and I don't know what they're going to. Maybe they're just trying to weaken Iran to a certain point, and then the regime collapses on its own. I think that's the thing you have to hope for. Thoughts on the Austin shootings and other false flag, FF false flag? Yeah, very weird. I mean, I don't know what to make of that. It's like some black dude who's an immigrant who's wearing an Islamic shirt or whatever, sweatshirt. Uh, you could say a sleeper cell, you could say a false flag. People are obviously going to say that right after what happened, but it's very weird. Yeah, I heard about the mass stabbing in DC as well. So there was the shooting in Texas, there was the stabbing in DC. Yeah, I mean, I don't see the point. I mean, you've asked that before about Flight 175 hitting the North Tower. I just don't see the hypothetical. At a certain point, it kind of just becomes a bit ridiculous when you go that far. I mean, obviously, the North Tower would collapse probably faster. The South Tower would stay up. Then they'd have to have the choice would be they'd probably rebuild the North. They're not going to bring the South Tower down if it doesn't get hit. They'd have to just rebuild the North, I would say. Trump's gonna tank Republicans in Wisconsin. Yeah, Wisconsin. Those Rust Belt states are brutal in general. Those Rust Belt states, they barely voted for Trump in 24. That was an amazing. That's concerning when you look at those margins in 24 and the Senate races. It's just brutal. But I think those states are just they're 50-50 pretty much every cycle. But those margins were so close for that environment. But again, that's just kind of, I guess, how the Rust Belt is outside of Ohio. Yeah, guys, like the video stream. Do you think Trump will be impeached again after the midterms? Well, they'd have to take the House to impeach him. They'd have to take the House to file for articles, and then it'd go to the Senate, and he wouldn't be removed. He'd get impeached for abuse of power, abuse of executive authority, or using the presidency to enrich himself. Is Georgia 50-50? It's been 50-50 like the last 3 elections, honestly. No, it's been 50-50 since 2020. 2 elections. Dems taking us at 82%. Yeah, that's not ideal. I mean, now you're just look. It's still a ways away, and the thing is with the House is it's so many of they're very small races. It depends. I mean, obviously right now it's going in their direction. It's been going in their direction really since those elections that happened last November. But Grok said Newsom is favored to win over Vance. It's irrelevant right now. It's way too early. Biden's speech. Yeah, Biden 2028. I saw Biden's speech with the little campaign stuff in the background. Hilarious. Do I think it's a sleeper cell or some lone lunatic? I don't know. It looks like a lunatic to me. But who knows? Maybe it's both. Breaking President Trump's goal in Iran is to finish the regime off and eventually topple it. Yeah, I mean that's we knew that with the strikes. The problem is how are you going to do that exactly without significant involvement? And how does that get done in a quick time frame? And how does that not create a power vacuum within Iran? No, I don't think Texas is not going to be a swing state. Because of a tax? No. No, Texas is a Republican state. The Senate you know, the Senate race is a little bit closer, but it's a Republican state. Iraq too. That's I can't see that. You're saying Texas will never go blue. Wait until you get more immigrants. Eventually, you probably will. Not people within the state voting blue, but we'll see. No, I mean, they've been saying Texas is gonna go blue for a decade and it hasn't. But the stock market will open down, probably not ridiculously down. I don't think. I mean, look at crypto. But I guess maybe crypto will just follow the market. I think crypto will probably get crushed with the market opening down. Um, but crypto pretty much recovered after the initial strikes. I think Shia LaBeouf has some issues. I don't know. He keeps getting arrested for stuff. He was a liberal. I don't know. Is he still a liberal? He's maybe got drug problems or something. Trump is not bending the knee. He was always just a populist who didn't really care about migration. He's showing he is 1/12 He's showing who he is. 1/12 of the effort on deportation. We'd have 1 million out. Well, listen, they have the funding for the deportations. I don't know. I mean, I guess you could try and do more with the deportations. The funding is ridiculous. I mean, nobody's funded immigration operations at this level. It's not even close. I mean, I guess they could hire a bunch more people, even on top. They already have a record number of ICE agents. But I do think, obviously, this is a decision by Trump, and really, what's the dynamics here behind the scene? This seems really inconsistent. And obviously, things change when you get into office. But Trump said he would never do something like this. And again, I know things change when you get into office, but you wonder behind the scenes the dynamics with Israel, what's going on there. Do they really have something on Trump? Just because it's really just, it's not something we would really like to see. I mean, if it's prolonged, it's really, he's been against this type of action his entire political career. I don't play Resident Evil. I don't know about that. Why isn't NATO helping? It looks like a lot of those. What's not a NATO issue? It's preemptive strikes by the U.S. and Israel. Listen, those NATO countries are probably going to help. They're all falling in line. They're all just backing the U.S. now. They're backing the U.S. and Israel. The Gulf states are backing the U.S. and Israel because Iran is hitting them. Trump said Iran was 2 weeks from a nuke, so he either lied after Midnight Hammer or he's lying now. He said their facilities were obliterated. Yeah, they've been lying about the nuke stuff. I mean, there's just they need justification. They need justification for these strikes. So the justification is it's going to be, oh, they're developing a nuke, or I don't even know what this is. I mean, they had the nuclear talks again this past month, but it's like, there's no way. You're right, he did say their nuclear sites were obliterated, and so then what are these strikes for? I mean, the only thing you can argue from a geopolitical standpoint is the amount of oil that Iran exports to China. That's probably the only angle. I mean, maybe there's a few other ones with Iran, but Iran is weak. They're allied with our adversaries. But I mean, is it necessary to do this? He bitched out in Minnesota before anything could even get done. He half-assed it. Well, I think he got told by people that this is a bad look and we're barely deporting people anyways in Minnesota. I mean, he obviously he shouldn't have done what he did in Minnesota. Because it's unfortunate now all these liberals are going to do the same shit in other states. But I think he was told by advisors that Minnesota only accounts for 1% of our deportations or arrests, so it doesn't make sense for us to still be there. I think they account for like 2% or something. But these liberals were going crazy about Minneapolis, and the ICE was barely even operating in Minneapolis. And what Trump should have done is he should have sent more of force to Minneapolis, like a lot more, made it almost a police state. But then they're gonna bitch and they'll say, "Well, that's an executive overreach." You heard that Jontron has accepted Trump's offer to become the Shah? Appreciate the coverage and information. Yeah, no problem. Canadian, $2.79 Canadian dollars. The conversion to that is $2.33. No, I don't know. $2.55 maybe. Now, I agree. There's no boots on the ground, but the problem is, how are they going to get regime change? Maybe there's a way. I mean, it's the U.S. military. There's got to be ways to do this without involving too much. But maybe there's not. I don't know. Well, they do have most of their operations happen in Texas. I think that's where most of the deportations have come from, in Texas and Florida. I don't know much. I mean, California. You remember they were doing it last year, and that's when the huge those riots broke out. Um, but yeah, they've done raids in the major cities for sure. Um, did you hear? This is look at this one. Did you hear the guy appointed as acting supreme leader was killed today in a strike? So they appointed a new Ayatollah, and he reportedly got killed already. Like they're trying to decimate the entire regime. That just shows you. He's now pulling back ICE everywhere. Compare him to a man like Rupert Lowe, who's openly saying non-white people need to go to preserve white Britain. Yeah, no, Rupert Lowe is serious. I get it. But Trump has that boomerism in terms of that type of racial stuff. He doesn't really talk. He doesn't really even say the word white. Trump won't. That's just the boomerism in him. But yeah, Rupert Lowe is. I mean, we'll see. You know, it's the honeymoon period with Rupert Lowe. Once we'll see his actions and we'll see what their party does in terms of staying on. Because remember, Reform UK was really big and they were the new thing on the block, and you know they faltered. So I mean, I hope Rupert Lowe does well, but you got to wonder. There's a honeymoon period, just like there was a honeymoon period for Reform. You know, Matt Walsh is he's got the Israel stuff because he's with Shapiro. So I think he's trying to kind of play the other side and say, well, no, this isn't a good idea. Or, you know, he came out and said people need to be a little bit worried about this and question it. What would a liberal boomer say about the recent U.S. strike on Iran? Well, they just hate Trump, so they'll say it's bad. They'll just say it's executive overreach. That's a lot of their points are like, well, you need Congress to do this. Although I haven't really heard that recently from like, I feel like that's not even a talking point. But it's like even Congress is just bought by Israel anyways. They'd probably okay the strikes. I mean, what does it even? What does it even matter? Yeah, I saw the Portnoy thing. Of course, he supports him. Doesn't surprise me. Versus Sliwa. Yeah. Yeah, I know. The Islamic stuff is just well Sneeko said that he's like, well, you never really know. You never know when you could get taken out. The guy was 86. Like, really? Huh. Depressed Ginger too. I haven't seen that username on here in a while. Yeah, I don't know what the updates are right now. We're gonna have to see. They're just gonna be continuing strikes for the next weeks, honestly. Farage would never say England is for the ethnic English. This guy's a lot more serious. Farage kicked him out for being an ethnonat. Yeah, no, I have heard that backstory. But I'm just saying Farage was the big new thing, and then he kind of fell by the wayside. The thing is when you become a leader of the party, you're going to get all these people inundating you and saying you have to compromise on stuff. And so, I mean, I hope it continues, but it becomes more complicated. Asking unarmed Iranian civilians to rise up is not a plan. No, I mean, you are right. You are right. I mean, how does that even happen? I mean, that just seems like wishful thinking. Obviously, that would be ideal in terms of avoiding U.S. troop involvement, right? Because you should kick up the political content. You were a force during the. Yeah, I do. I still make political content. I just made a video today. AK-47. Thank you. I appreciate that comment. AK-47. Did you do you see more of these extremists in the U.S. doing more now? Yeah, it's a concern, the amount of immigrants that have come in, and it could create some terrorist plots in the U.S. That's the problem with this immigration and people coming in non-vetted. Do you think we strategically took Venezuela for this event to offset the global impact of the oil issues with Iran? Well, oil is a global commodity, so us taking over Venezuela will not affect, the fact that we have the Venezuelan oil, or at least it looks like we've perceived to have it. The global oil price is not affected by that very much at all, because if the strait ends up getting closed, I mean, it's a global market, so it's going to affect everywhere. But it's good to have because it gives us more power. But the thing is that's why the Middle East is so important. Unfortunately, no matter how much oil you have, because it's a global market, if something happens in the Middle East, it's going to affect the price of oil everywhere. Liberty and Levin tonight. That's what it's called. I don't think I'm going to be able to catch it. I got it recorded though. I'm going to have to record that episode with Mark Levin, and we'll have to see. Maybe I'll join him as a guest. Mark Levin versus Tucker Carlson versus Nick Fuentes. That's a debate. And if you had to guess in 20 years, will the results of this be good or bad for Trump's legacy? In 20 years, it'll be good for his legacy. That's a macro, though. Micro, I don't think it's going to be good. But it depends how the investment, But you're talking about changing Iran, possibly giving it more Western influence. I mean, that long term is going to be very good. But again, micro, it's probably not going to be seen as good. Time to kiss the wall. I love it, dude. I love the wall. I mean, I'd like to go to the Wailing Wall, honestly, from a historic perspective. I don't think oil is going to go up any crazy amount. The Strait of Hormuz isn't even closed yet. There's debates on if it's going to close. But honestly, if it were to close, this would be the time for Iran to do it. They're going to be desperate. But even if they close it, it's going to hurt them significantly. It's going to hurt their allies significantly. It's not a good situation for anyone if they close that. Yeah, I know. Dude, he tweets that out. He says, "I told you so." It's just not necessary, honestly. I don't really understand. But whatever. That's why everyone goes to the wall for history. Yeah, but it is also a humiliation ritual to a degree for the politicians. But that's really what it's supposed to be for the history. But then you got to go up and kiss it or put. Why did they attack Kuwait and Dubai? Well, maybe they attacked Dubai in the civilian centers, possibly to try and pressure or make the UAE angry, and then maybe the some of those countries, the Gulf states, would tell the U.S. and Israel to stop. Because really, you look at Iran and their arsenal. if they just keep hitting U.S. sites, number one, it just emboldens the U.S. to retaliate. And you're never going to beat the U.S. in terms of striking militarily. You're just not. So you want to bomb more sites? You want to bomb Israel for the 30th time? Like, it's just you're never going to win something like that. They're just going to keep retaliating. It's just going to give them more justification. But I don't know. Now this gives the Gulf states justification to jump in against Iran. Got to wear a yarmulke too when you're there. Like Ben Shapiro's yarmulke's gotten a lot bigger. You graduate once you reach a certain level. I think he. Would you consider a potential 2036 presidential run? I've already actually submitted that form, so I think I'm the leader. No, I'm not running for president. Dude, literally, that's all of us every Gen Z guy that's eligible in 2036. That's what they always say. 2036. Mr. Beast, Nick Fuentes, who are the other? There's a few other ones that say 2036. I don't know what the inflation rating was. I'm not sure, honestly. Was it higher? NBC is reporting U.S. missile stockpile is running low. That seems insane to me. I know they've done strikes. They did strikes last year, but if anything, Israel should be out of missiles, not the U.S. But they've got missiles allocated for different things. They've got domestic defense. They've got strategical missiles on certain bases, and so maybe the missiles they've moved in, they might be running low on. Yeah, maybe it. Well, when can Barron Trump even run 2040? Barron Trump's younger than me by like probably 6 years. I don't know. He's like 20. The markets are going to be down, but they're not going to be crazy down. I don't think. The markets being down will cause crypto to be low. But look at crypto. Crypto is fully recovered from whatever this is. If the markets were going to open with a crazy flash crash or whatever, Bitcoin would at least be under 60K. Bitcoin's price action recovered completely from the first strikes. Obviously, if crypto is basically recovered, yes, the markets will open down. Not to any crazy degree. I heard the Iranian stockpile of their missiles was very low because they used a lot of them last year on Israel. I mean, they were striking directly in Tel Aviv and other Israeli cities, so. What's going on with Ethereum? Ethereum had a horrible cycle, but and then it permeates and it affects. It was a terrible alt season. It's a terrible alt cycle. Now crypto's not gone. It's just it's this part of the cycle. It's a down period. But you can make some serious money off crypto if you time it properly, just based off the cycle. Unless the cycle deviates. John, it's good to see you, man. Well, no, Iran, of course, will exist, but it depends. The involvement, maybe it exists in a way that is a lot more pro-U.S., depending on how much they want to be involved. But they're going to have to invest a lot. I think you look back 20 years, it's going to be great for what the U.S. does, but this is a problem in terms of right here, right now, and just the connotation of Trump and Israel being in bed. And well, there were a lot of coins that did pretty well in 24 and 25, but it was never an actual. The last time we had a full-fledged alt season was 21. And then it was supposed to be another one in 25, and it didn't happen. necessarily. I've seen Don Jr. in some polls, but yeah, I agree with you. I think that'd be very bad. I don't think that'd be good. They've got statues now. Ben Franklin, Alexander, Hamilton. I'm trying to find a video. That's the thing is, when I start drinking this this water, whatever this flavored water, I gotta piss. Bro, give me a video. All right, I'll be right back.
This is the duty and the burden of a free people. These actions are right and they are necessary to ensure that Americans will never have to face a radical, bloodthirsty terrorist regime armed with nuclear weapons and lots of threats. For almost 50 years, these wicked extremists have been attacking the United States while chanting the slogan, "Death to America" or "Death to Israel" or both. They are the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. We are the world's greatest and most powerful nation, so we can do something about what they do. These intolerable threats will not continue any longer. I once again urge the Revolutionary Guard, the Iranian military, and police to lay down your arms and receive full immunity or face certain death. It will be certain death. Won't be pretty. I call upon all Iranian patriots who yearn for freedom to seize this moment, to be brave, be bold, be heroic, and take back your country. America is with you. I made a promise to you, and I fulfilled that promise. The rest will be up to you, but we'll be there to help. Thank you. God bless you to our incredible warriors, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
So that was Trump giving maybe that was, I already played that, I think. So Trump says there's going to be more casualties. It's going to go on. It's multi-week. It's important for the country. God bless the United States and God bless Israel. What if Trump at the end was just like, God bless the United States, but more importantly, God bless the great state of Israel? Dude, people would lose their minds if he said that. Trump says war can last 5 weeks rather than 4. If it's even lasting 4, it's gonna be the Trump Gaza AI video. I don't know where that was. That was a long time ago. That video. Yeah, I remember that video. They got angry about that one. Like the stream. Does Congress succeed in the limit to presidential war powers? It's discretional. It's not. They're not breaking the war. It's there's Trump didn't break any war powers. This is it's you have executive authority to do certain things with the military. Yeah, there's going to be the market's going to open down. Look at futures. It's going to open down. It's not going to be anything crazy. It's going to recover within the same day. I think it'll recover within the same day if I had to guess. I don't think it's going to be that bad. Well, now we're starting to Trump is saying 4 or 5 weeks. Maybe it will open a little bit lower, but it'll open down for sure. The question is it going to be any crazy major sell-off? That was a great moment with the Jamie Raskin teleprompter. That dude was zoned into reading off the teleprompter and it just died on him. That was a tough one. Homie was lost in the sauce on that. Not the 5 weeks to stop the spread. Oh, no, 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 no. But you were probably saying it was going to be a longer engagement last year as well. Look, Trump has got to really know. He's got to just end it really quickly. And, like, I don't know what's going to happen to Iran. Maybe Iran, the regime in Iran is going to get so weak after these strikes. There's going to have to be a regime change that's caused by the citizens or something. Because the regime will be so weak. They've been killing all these people, these leaders. There's going to be no one left of their regime. So who takes over? Who's the next chain of command? No, I agree. I think it is different. 100%. Well, obviously it was going to be different. It's one thing to strike military or nuclear bases, nuclear installations, nuclear facilities, and it's another thing to try and do this. This is going to put U.S. troops' lives in danger, and I think the casualties are really bad. We were hoping there weren't going to be any, but Trump said there were, and there's probably going to be more. Trump said, and that's very bad. You never want to see something like that, especially when you're talking about Middle East activity, and it's just, is it really necessary to do this? I mean, obviously in the moment, it's hard to explain this away. Will these strikes hurt Russia the most? I think Russia's waffled on defending Iran in any meaningful way. Iran uses like some of their defense capabilities that I don't know if they're defense drones or whatever, but a lot of the Russian technology, military technology, is not the best anyways. People have learned. Russia has issues with Ukraine. A lot of their energy is devoted to Ukraine. Will China do anything to defend Iran? No, they won't. I mean, they'll try and use the situation in a way that can benefit them. I don't think they're going to do anything to defend Iran. They haven't shown the willingness to do it yet. I mean, think about it. All the Gulf states against Iran now after Iran struck them. Now the UK, the EU signaling they're going to support the US and Israel. Does it really make sense? Well, I mean, you're talking about a much bigger war if Russia and China get involved, but they're not going to. Would you vote for Dan? Dude, come on. I'm not voting for Dan Bongino. Dan Bongino's not even going to run for anything. We all need to stay behind Trump. If we did not strike, Iran could be delivering Chinese warheads to our cities in 10 years. Well, look, I mean, it's Iran is certainly they're certainly an adversary, and I don't know about that one, but you never know. We're the Axis powers. Really, we're the Axis powers. Then what is it? Why does everyone support us outside of the East? We're gonna be the Axis powers with Europe supporting us. Really, it's a joke. Republicans are going to lose the House by a lot, 221 to 214. That's not a lot. That's like a simple majority. But yeah, the House is going to be a challenge. But what are we going to predict it this far out? I don't know. The House is going to be a lot tougher to win. We know that, but I think I'd say it's like 60-40 Dem advantage, maybe 60-40. Nobody likes Americans because it's the most powerful country. There's a hatred, animosity against the most powerful country, of course. That's normal human nature. See how condescending I am when because that's what it is. Do a video on the mass anti-U.S. protests in New York. Really? What are they Iranian protests? But it's funny because it's the same thing with Venezuela, where the Iranian people that live in the United States are happy, and then these liberals protest, their happiness. They're protesting the Venezuelans' happiness. We saw that. No, because the U.S. and Israel invade random nations. No, that's really not the reason. That's really not the reason. So why do they hate us over Russia? What Russia did would basically be us invading Canada. They invaded the Ukraine. So why would they not hate Russia more than the U.S.? Where's our invasion of a country? We haven't invaded anyone. Allies were the bad guys and still are. Khamenei is like Uncle a good man protecting his people. Yeah, Khamenei obviously he didn't do a good enough job in terms of being able to develop a nuclear bomb, which could have deterred it. What? I mean, you get donations like that from time to time. Weren't you for an invasion of Greenland? No, I said diplomatically take over Greenland. I never said they needed to invade Greenland. So that's a lie. But I said they might have to pressure them to do it. Do we have enough oil in the U.S. to limit oil prices? That's not how oil works. It doesn't matter how much oil we have, unless we control all the oil. The oil prices are affected by Middle Eastern activity. The oil prices are not domestic controlled. They're international. They're foreign. Us having more access to oil is definitely a good thing, and it stabilizes it more. But the actual price of oil is a global entity. Us owning a lot of the oil doesn't really matter because there's still a ton of oil in the Middle East and it's going to be affected by this. But I don't think it's going to be anything crazy. I mean, oil has been down forever. Energy's been down for a while. Even if it's affected, it's not going to go any. I mean, unless they close the Strait of Hormuz for an extended period of time, I don't think it's going to be anything. Are we going to get regular streams like the end of last year? Well, I don't know. I mean, it depends if this situation keeps developing. The fear mongering about Republicans losing the House and Senate will get people out to vote. It is smart. Imagine Rubio Vance take Vance as VP again. Yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying with Rubio. He needs to come out and say something because there's a lot of people saying Rubio should be the candidate now. The odds of boots on the ground, it's about 3% chance, according to extensive military experts and high-level people. We lose the House, but not the Senate. It's very possible. If China invaded, well, who would China invade? Like China invading Taiwan, you're talking about, and more countries jumped in. Are we in World War III? Well, then you risk a cascade effect. You risk a domino effect. But we've had a hot war for a while now in Europe, and there's no World War III, so you just have to keep it contained to a regional war. It's got to be contained. China's not ready to jump into anything, I don't think. If Khamenei spent less time virtue signaling about George Floyd and BLM and more time developing nukes, he'd still be around. Yeah, I've heard that. I mean, I guess they it's crazy that the Iranian regime would be involved in BLM or supporting it. Why are people so negative about the Iran strikes? If anything, I see this as a win for the midterms. Not a there's no way it's going to be a win for the midterms unless it like ends very soon and it's like this huge. The problem is any Middle Eastern action is a negative. It's just the way people are now because of Iraq, Afghanistan. Um, it's just the reality of the actions in the Middle East are very viewed very negatively, and for good reason. Honestly, for good reason. But if they stay at this for 4 or 5 weeks and there's a bunch of U.S. casualties, I mean, it becomes a bigger problem. That would be scrubbed. They wouldn't be. That's got to be fake. Really, Israel searched his name before the shooting, so they set that up. I can't believe they would leave a trail like that. Come on, that's a second or third time I've seen things where people say, "Well, this shooting happened," and then people looked up his name before it, and he's a nobody. So how could so it had to be a false flag? They're gonna leave a trail like that. No, it's real. Well, because somebody took a screenshot. I mean, I don't know, man. Favorite movie, Interstellar. Dude, I'll tell you what. One of the things I will say, and I'm not even into the predictive markets. It was very like it was telegraphed in terms of these strikes, and I was surprised at the odds of these strikes happening. Within a certain amount of time. And I was like, man, there's only like a 33% chance there's going to be a strike within the next week. That seems like it's going to happen. I mean, even on Friday, dude, the amount of tweets that I saw from people that were like you can kind of know when strikes are coming. You can just tell. There, you could have made a lot of money off of that. It was kind of obvious. If the U.S. and powerful Jays didn't try to make a liberal world order, Khamenei never would have promoted BLM. Neither would have Russia. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We don't have to really talk about the Iranian regime promoting BLM or whatever. Like, it's kind of irrelevant at this point. Yeah, I feel like you can tell by a lot of different shit, dude. But, bro, I saw some cryptic tweets where they're basically, like, admitting it's gonna happen. You know? That's why I was in a movie and I came out. And I thought it was gonna happen when I was in the movie, but it didn't. That's the thing is they struck at a weird time. We're used to the strikes at like 7, 8 o'clock Eastern. It happens at 2:30 because they wanted to do it during the day. Because I guess they had intelligence that he was going to be somewhere during the day and they'd be able to get him easier. Iran is cooked. I mean, there's no way. Trump will use the military for the Jews, but won't use it on the communists at home to destroy it. Well, I mean, domestically using the military. Yeah, I mean, there's certain things that in terms of the deportations that Trump should do, but then they just say it's an overreach. Pro-Palestine bots on Twitter. Yeah, there's so many bots in general on both sides on Twitter. We're bringing them to free the civilians. They have to say something for justification. What do you think the chances of an aircraft carrier hit at some point? Well, I don't know what the U.S. would do, but it would be a major escalation. That's what all signs point to if Iran tries striking one of the aircraft carriers. It'd be a huge escalation. I don't think it's likely, but I don't know what they would do in that. I mean, that would just give them crazy justification to escalate with the strikes. Yeah, well, he told them not to vote, I guess, for Republicans. We knew that was coming though. With that, I mean, that doesn't surprise me. I think he's already said that. Will Iran strike continental U.S.? They can't reach it. They can't reach the United States with their missiles. I have a good memory. I do. Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of inconsistent things with Trump's messaging. I think I don't know what to say to people. Honestly, I think it's just like hopefully it ends quickly. Maybe it's only 3 or 4 weeks. It's not ideal though. Is Cuba next? Well, I mean, this situation is still playing out, but yes, Cuba is in Mexico. Yeah, the cartels. That's gonna be part of the operations. There's no question. I never saw the Melania Trump movie. It's not my forte. Let's just say that. Oh man, they're trying to bring Rubio in. They're trying to get Rubio to be the next not the next big political thing. You think it'll be done by the end of March? That's a good prediction. The new Iran leader dead apparently. That's what was reported. I don't know if Iran has confirmed it yet, but they initially denied that the Khamenei was dead. Rubio's getting blamed for this. I think Vance is getting blamed more so. Or yeah, you're right, Rubio, because Rubio has been for this type of stuff, but I don't know. People are kind of angry at Vance from what I've seen. Of course, I'd make a 3 pointer in the NBA. Of course, you just got to be able to shoot decently. Yeah, it's going to be an ongoing situation. There's really nothing to say. I mean, there's just more strikes, I guess. The Cybertruck, bro. Like, what is this? Like little statues? I mean,
Mr. President, what's your main objective?
Oh! That chick just jump scared me.
Mr. President, what is your main objective? What is it?
Mr. President, who do you want to lead Iran? Mr. President, come on over here. Come on over here, Mr. President.
What's the statue?
What's your message to the families of the service members?
Is that a statue? Did you say of Netanyahu? I don't know. Yeah, that was annoying. I'm not gonna lie. You think it's gonna lead to the Taiwan? Well, the China's invasion of Taiwan could have happened right after Russia invaded Ukraine. It would be even better. It'd be even better. There'd be more global chaos. I don't know. I think their invasion's gonna happen with whatever geopolitical situation is happening throughout the world. That inevitably they'll be invading. What's the main objective? Well, their main objective is to weaken the regime significantly. Now, they might be regime change, but it's just, I'll just say, to weaken the regime significantly. Yeah, they've been threatening to invade Taiwan for 80 years, but we've also been threatening to do something to Iran forever, and it finally happened. It's going to happen at some point. It just depends. This statue. Ben Franklin. Trump has reached. Apparently, they're going full steam ahead with the ballroom. So that'll be built. I'm more interested in the ceremonial arch, the victory arch. It'd be really nice if they build that. Finally caught me on a live stream. What's up, man? Alberta, it's not gonna happen. Not like that. Waste of money with the ballroom. Yeah, I mean it's all private money. It's privately financed. What's more important to maintain in the midterms? Well, you'd like to have both the House and the Senate, and also depending on the simple majority versus super majority. They're not going to get super majority, but Senate. He'll only be able to inaugurate the ballroom at the start of his third term. I think in 2027 they said it's going to be completed. Well, maybe 2028. If it's already 2026, how long does it take to build that? Paid for by Jewish billionaires for a favor? Huh. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely favors behind the scenes. You're going to fund that. Who's your team for March Madness? I don't know. Maybe Arizona. Ayatollah successor dead. Yeah, that's been reported by a lot of people. They're really taking everyone out. They're taking everyone out. Tucker Carlson, he's come out against this. Tucker Carlson said stand with the people in Iran. and he's come out against these strikes. He doesn't like it. Florida. Yeah, Florida's been playing really well, but I'll give you that. I don't know about them going back to back. That's a although UConn did it. That's on Larry Ellison getting TikTok, Warner Brothers, Skydance, and Paramount. Yeah, it's a lot of concealed power within one person there when they have all those media companies. It's not good. If they impeach and remove Trump, JD Vance can finish. Yeah, but how are they going to remove him? They're not going to have the votes in the Senate to remove him. They're going to maybe impeach him, but they're not going to remove him. But if they actually did remove him, that would be catastrophic for his legacy. What are the chances Iran declares war? They're already in a war. They're in a war against like all of looks like even the EU now, Europe in general. They're gonna have a tough time, Iran, over this next month. There was a knife attack. It was on the highway or something. They said it was a mass knife attack or something. I don't know. You assume they hit Dubai Hotel accidentally. I don't know. There's speculation. Maybe they did it because they wanted to get the United Arab Emirates angry, and maybe the UAE, because they have money invested in the US, they would tell the US and Israel to stop the war. I don't know what that is. They're hitting civilian areas, airports in UAE. Wonder why China and Russia not helping Iran. Russia has their own war to deal with. The juice is not worth the squeeze for China, I'm guessing. I mean, it's all calculated. They do get a lot of oil from Iran, but the Ayatollah replacement also got killed, question mark. Yeah, apparently. Maybe Iran will come out and deny it, but yeah, there'll be some economic repercussions. I think short term though. It's going to be short term losses. That'll be recovered within a month or so. Do you think the exiled prince will regain control, and if so, when and how? Yeah, well, it depends like what type of resistance Iran has within their country. So they would need serious resistance. Uh, they would need like rebel forces, and you would need some type of military. I mean, but I wouldn't want it to be U.S. military. I think to get them installed. 3 dead Americans the first day. The entire Iranian population is rallying behind the old men that got taken out. That's not true. I mean, it's very split in Iran, from what I hear. There are definitely people that support him, though. And the strait is not closed. I believe it's contested. If it was closed, we would know. I don't believe the strait is actually closed. Can somebody tell me, is the strait actually closed or not? I've heard it's I don't think it's closed. I mean, there's bets on if it'll close. It's not closed. That's the thing. People just say this stuff like, it's my real name, first name, Patrick. Ships moving through with relative ease. They're not going to be insured. Okay, I mean, come on. That seems a bit soft if that's really what it is. Yeah, I think our naval fleet will be fine. I mean, they're going to try and close it. I'm not sure they'd even be able to. Yeah, there's no way it's going to be done, Junior. I think Rubio wants to try and angle for power, not VP. But then that makes it a mess if that's true. If we do end up installing a new government, do you think we take control of the Strait of Hormuz or allow new Iranian government to keep control? I mean, that seems like it'd be maybe a proxy thing. Maybe there would be a U.S. governance over it by proxy. They technically control it, but we would make sure it's safe. I don't know. I mean, that's far away, man, to be involved in that. But it is an important choke point. Yeah, we get some weird ones now. No, Trump is not resigning. I'm sick. I mean, it's just a waste of a statement. There are some China bots. Maybe I don't know. No, those aren't bots. We don't even have ground troops. Haven't you been bitching this entire time? Like, what's your angle, bro? I mean, obviously it's not ideal. What do you want me to say exactly, though? Like, I don't know. If there's no updates, dude, but these updates are gonna be slow. There'll be something that comes out, and then there's just gonna be strikes continuously, and there's gonna be a lot of, I think, leaders within Iran that die because they're targeted strikes against them. Trump already offered a ceasefire. Where are you hearing that from, man? I mean, where would you be hearing that from? Is Iran on the verge of civil war? I don't believe so. It's over tomorrow or it's never ending. Yeah, that's the thing with Congress is it's so much. There's such a huge Israel lobby. You have to wonder. It'll probably be okayed anyways. These strikes. Really, never Vance. Remember Never Trump, dude? I remember the Never Trump people. That was a different era. That was a different era. Never Trump. That was 2016. Let's pretend best case scenario. There's a successful regime change that is pro-West. Is this the greatest accomplishment of both Trump's presidencies? I mean, I don't know about a Middle Eastern, de-arm. Like, what even is this synagogue?
U.S. defense officials tell Fox News that 4 B-2 bombers dropped pound penetrator bombs on Iranian ballistic missile facilities underground.
The jets flew out of Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri, and that's the same base used in the Fordow attack last summer. It was an 18-hour trip one way. The jets refueled along the way, and the B-2s have returned to the U.S.
Plus, we are now getting our first update from CENTCOM this morning. U.S. forces say they have struck an Iranian ship in the Gulf of Oman, and the ship is currently sinking to the bottom of the ocean. CENTCOM adding, quote, as the president said, members of Iran's armed forces, IRGC, and police must lay down your weapons. Abandoned ship. We'll continue to bring the latest on this as we learn more. That's pretty significant. Not only the fact that the same B-2 mission that flew back last June now took out the ballistic missiles, because remember, we have to have air dominance over the country to continue to attack targets, but also the sinking of a Iranian naval ship is significant because in this case, with what we're trying to do, we have to have air and naval dominance, particularly as you've talked this morning about the concern about what could happen in that Strait of Hormuz.
And we're just learning that 3 service members, according to CENTCOM, have been U.S. service members have been killed in Iranian strikes, reminding us of the incredible stakes that are at play here. Earlier, we were talking about the.
By the way, 5 have been seriously wounded as well.
Yeah. Earlier, we were, Griff, you and I were talking about the B-2s. And of course, this would be this bombing on which was designed to basically leave Iran blind and deaf to all the
Chinese bot raid. I think we're coping. Chinese bot raid. I've been raided by Chinese bots.
The follow-on attacks is separate from the 30 bombs that were dropped on the Khomeini's compound.
That's correct, because, again, what they're trying to do is to hit targets, in the case of this B-2 mission, to take out the ballistic missiles. And they've used the bunker busters because those are deep underneath the ground in some cases. And with the attack on the meeting that was happening, the intelligence they got, that's in obviously the building, that spectacular video we saw. But, you know, just that last news, I mean,
Dude, I'm sick of these bots in my chat. Why is there so many Chinese bots tonight?
To be reporting live now that 3 service members have been killed, 5 critically injured, really is a stark reminder of what's at stake. And the president noting that casualties were a real possibility here.
And
why do the Chinese bots dislike Fox News so much? Makes you wonder.
he did say that casualties were a possibility. But as we
why do people get triggered when I watch news? Like, people get angry when it's on CNN or Fox News. You gotta watch something to see what they're reporting on.
Since we've gotten here, it has amassed a large number of people, and the celebration is striking. We got here just moments after initial reports, initial rumors of the death of Ayatollah Khamenei had just started to trickle from Iran to this diaspora community, and people were jumping in excitement, hugging.
That's in Los Angeles, though.
Each other, crying, saying that basically they've been waiting 47 years for this very day, Jessica. It is the reason so many of them have come out here today. I want you to hear from one of them specifically, his thoughts right after learning that the supreme leader of Iran was dead.
When is the last time you saw people in Israel and Iran dancing on the streets in excitement? And when is the last time you've ever heard of a country coming out and dancing?
Mandarin, really?
Because they're excited that foreign powers are attacking them.
Well, they're dancing all right. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this live stream. I'm getting it there. Enjoy your night. Enjoy your Sunday evening. It's going to be warm next week here. It's going to be very warm. They're dancing all right. A lot of China bots. I mean, dude, okay. There's literally 0 China bots in my chat, but somebody just called these guys who were angry at Trump China bots. Well, now we've got the messages, the Chinese messages. At least they've transferred to their native language now. All right, guys, I'll see ya.